Yo, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all the other episodes, stop by raprankings.com or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform.
Well, folks, we're back. We got a 3-time guest in the building. You may remember her from the Playboy Cardi episode, the Little Uzi Vert episode. But this is going to be less of a lituation. Misha, welcome back to the show.
I'm here again, like I never left. And yeah.
Now, usually we'll bring you in on something a little bit more contemporary.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes to help us wrap our heads around the phenomenon.
Well, no, to help you, because you're old. I'm not old. Okay. I know what's going on with the youth.
Help me. However, today, you have you've made no bones in the past about, you have some connections to this Wu-Tang, as many New Yorkers have found themselves in a few degrees of separation to this extended family known as the Wu-Tang Clan.
I wish
joining us today.
I wish it was a few degrees. Unfortunately, for me, it's more like a step away. But please go on.
Yes, so you're joining us for a very special look at Cappadonna's "Milk the Cow."
Yeah, it's track 9 here. Featuring Method Man, produced by True Master.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was told that you'd be coming on, Misha, and you had something to tell us that could color our enjoyment or lack thereof of this album, and I've been on pins and needles all week.
Oh, dear. So do we want to get into my, so to speak, personal relationship with Cappadonna, or
please.
Do we want to? All right.
I think yeah. Just in lieu of rating the song first, I think you should let the listeners know. We try to give disclosures, especially if we know the artist that we're reviewing in some capacity.
No, that's fair. And I will say that my opinion about this song is relatively unbiased. But so how to put it? I don't know if this has come up, but have you two been discussing the Cappadonna history in relation to the group at large and all that?
Well, throughout the season, we've kind of been hearing from him, but not officially in a member capacity, I guess, until after Wu-Tang Forever, right?
That's about right. So, to make a long story short, Cappadonna as a rapper kind of almost predates Wu-Tang slightly. He was like one of the first generation Staten Island rappers, alongside people like the guys in UMCs, who of course Cool Kim later became NY Oil. You had Scotty Waddy, Pop the Brown Hornet, King Just, people like that. And another one of these was Cappadonna, and he would go around freestyling, battling, and he was really talented, but because of circumstances that happens to a lot of people in the music business, he got caught up in something or another and was incarcerated around a lot of the time of Wu-Tang's prime. Well, not prime, but rather their initial groundswell and becoming a big force in the music industry.
Right.
Coincidentally, Raekwon has admitted that on several songs, he usually quoted from Cappadonna's freestyles he used to hear going around Staten Island, and he even admitted to once beating Method Man in a battle by stealing lyrics that Cappadonna had used once.
Okay, you hear that, Moulz? I've been telling you about this, Raekwon.
This is very interesting because Raekwon and Ghostface, we had made the observation that it sounds like Cappadonna in some ways is trying to mimic their style almost.
Actually, Moulz, I re-listened to the episode. No, I was definitely talking about You God, but I guess Cappadonna to some degree too.
Well, I can explain that actually very easily. If you go look at the Wu-Tang album, Ghost and Ray have a very specific rap style that they stick to, but around the time of the advanced singles for the Purple Tape, like Heaven and Hell was like a relatively old track, obviously, so it wasn't that different. But according to rumor and rumor and innuendo, details will be left ambiguous to protect the guilty. But when Cappadonna got out of jail and he needed something to do, Ghost and Ray put Cap under their wing, and he sort of worked as a sort of rapper coach for them in order to help polish and improve them. And also, in certain cases, write maybe a couple of bars here and there.
Oh.
Though not to... there were the later cases, of course, down the line historically, where certain other Staten Island rappers would claim they were kidnapped and beaten up and forced to write a certain classic album by Ghostface Killah. But also, that individual is also dead and may or may not have been in jail for statutory rape of a minor. So we're not going to talk about that case.
Yikes.
We haven't gotten to that album. And you know what? Even though I am a Ghostface truther, I do love Ghost. I think he is easily one of the best talents of Wu-Tang, and I don't hold any of this against him. It's just one of those things for perspective. So getting back to Cap basically was given his solo album almost as a favor because he had helped score some really big, strong records for Raekwon and Ghost, who... A known rumor that went around Wu-Tang Clan when they were emerging is that obviously Jizza and RZA and ODB had been in the industry for a couple years. Method Man had been trying for a little while. Inspector Deck had been trying. But one of the jokes that went around them was, these are 5 MCs and they're friends. And
wow,
Ray and Ghost were definitely more in the friends camp because Ghost specifically, if rumors believed to be true, was the treasurer, aka the guy who basically paid for the demo sessions and for Wu-Tang to get their first single pressed and all that, because of certain, activities he had outside the music career, which may or may not be covered in various books about the Wu-Tang, and of course they're now currently available on Hulu, popular TV series.
Yes, the Wu-Tang An American Tale, I believe it's called.
Yeah,
quite.
Or Saga or something.
So after Iron Man and the Purple Tape established Cappadonna as at least a relatively popular auxiliary member, he was finally given a chance to have an album to showcase himself. And, considering he'd unintentionally and directly been a major effect on the Wu-Tang, both as like an inspiration and a guide, why not? Give him a nice album. It's kind of like the relationship, say, Public Enemy had with Son of Berserk or something like that, where you loan the guy who helped give you guidance a chance to have his big break, so to speak.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
I'll mention it if I haven't already in the review. It's definitely going to come up later on down the line, so I'll bring it up here, either once again or for the first time. My issue with this album is that I'm of the belief that RZA failed Cappadonna. And I know there's the whole flood situation, but if Cappadonna was given an album with the production of a Liquid Swords, Iron Man, or Cuban Links, would the album have fared better? I would say unquestionably, right?
Yes and no. So here's the thing. The Flood technically predates Cappadonna even being released from jail, if I'm remembering correctly. Cuban Links is the first album that RZA was able to work on directly without any interruption. Liquid Swords and Tikal were particularly affected by that. So at least that's my memory of everything chronologically. Obviously, a lot of this is secondhand and recollections by Wu-Tang, who have been basically injecting dust between their toes since 1995. So it's it's a very foggy time for everyone, understandably so, but nevertheless. So what happened in this case is this is around the time where RZA's original goal for Wu-Tang was everyone is going to get a solo deal, and they were all going to leave Wu-Tang, do what they needed to do. They would have their own significant careers, and everything would be okay. The problem emerged that as they became famous, these guys didn't necessarily know how to make commercially viable music because, admittedly, some of them had only been rapping maybe a year or so before Wu-Tang had become a success. So at that point, you need a team in order to make the album more plausible. This would be like, say, Dre with NWA, how there would be whole teams working on Eazy-E's album, his albums, and everything else in order to ensure that it was going to become a hit, you know? And it also results in certain people not getting their just due. But specifically in the case of Cappadonna, what happened around this time is that RZA, he knew that Wu-Tang was going to have to break up because managing all of the different personalities in the crew, going through this difficult process of deciding what their album is going to be, how to shape it, you know, guiding their careers personally, dealing with the contracts, copyright issues, Dirty with all of his various legal situations. It became a mess, and understandably, RZA got very burnt out on that hat. And I believe it's also mentioned by Prince Paul on his podcast, What Had Happened Was, where he did an episode on the career of the Gravediggers. At a certain point, RZA's burnout meant he leaned more on his collective of friends and fellow producers. So for a lot of people who are major Wu-Tang fans, but for those who don't know, these would involve people such as True Master, as you mentioned, RNS, a lot of Mathematics, a lot of people who, Fourth Disciple, people who have been in the camp. They may be directly related to a lot of these guys, but they aren't main feature guys. So essentially...
No, but to your point, though, I think True Master is the MVP of this album from a production standpoint. I think the True Master beats on here are far superior to what RZA had to offer. I think RZA mostly offered up some of his most uninspiring music thus far in this season. We've been going chronologically.
I would believe that. The other issue is, and this is where it gets into the bias, what RZA and a lot of Wu-Tang slowly realized about Cappadonna is that some of his misfortune was bad luck, and some of his misfortune was kind of the cause of his own hand. Cap is somebody that would probably be best described as 730. For as talented as he is, he's somebody who constantly makes a lot of self-sabotaging decisions. And, well, just to give one example, so as I believe Lyle knows quite well, but Melvin, you might not know, my father ran a sort of label that dealt in Wu-affiliated rappers who might have fallen through the cracks in underground rap over in the late 2000s and the early 2010s. So if you ever wanted to know what happened to, say, various members of the Brooklyn Zoo or Sons of Man and things of that nature, we helped a lot of those guys put out their own records that maybe never got officially released or work on new music, and we would do interviews with them as well. Now, Kappa obviously was a big interest for us because my dad had loved Cappadonna ever since he saw Cap at a live show, and Cap commandeered the decks for the DJ that he was given, who apparently was not up to snuff, and Cap proceeded to scratch up the records for his own set while rapping live. So when he saw that, he was like, oh my god, this is a real MC. Brief celebrity name drop. My dad went and saw that show with his friend, and also fellow Wu-Tang affiliate Killa Priest. So shout out that guy.
Okay.
Yes. So basically, when Cap showed up to my father's apartment in Queens in order to do his interview, they started this interview talking about a film he's done. If for those who don't know, Cappadonna in the early 2000s redubbed a kung fu movie called Duel of the Iron Fist as Iron Fist Pillage, with him, some of his friends, and a couple other actors. I believe Steph Leva from Hot 97 was also involved. And it's a ridiculous movie, honestly. It holds up far better than it should, and it's completely diabolical. But it's kind of a cult classic among those who've managed to see it. And for my family, it was like a big bonding experience. So when we got Cappadonna, we were hoping, oh man, it's great. This is the guy. He's so funny. He's so ingenious, etc., etc. One of the first things he proceeded to do in this interview was, as the questions began, he began to slip into a very, very noticeable fake Jamaican accent. He started,
What?
He started referring to himself as the originator and damn be duplicator. And coincidentally, one of the interviewers was actually of Jamaican descent, and he was really nonplussed by that turn of events. And needless to say, the interview did not get much better from there, but...
This kind of sheds a little light on... I was confused as to why he kept referring to himself as the dance hall king on this album, but maybe... This is okay.
As far as my knowledge is concerned, I do not believe that Cappadonna is of Jamaican descent. I could be wrong, but as far as I'm aware, that is actually not the case. But, you know, if we rebuked all the rappers who do fake Jamaican accents, half the population of Brooklyn wouldn't be allowed to make music in the 90s. So, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, you know, and I lose the boy, and, you know, we can't have that. You know, he's like the tent pole for all the hip hop right now, you know? Anyway.
Really true.
Yeah.
But, so, I guess to get into the nitty gritty, when my family moved out to Pennsylvania, we found out that Cappadonna was going through rough times. And for people who don't know, it's been very on and off with Cap after the pillage. He was homeless for a period, living out of a cab he was driving. He had a number of issues. He also, at one point, was filmed on a YouGod documentary driving a Range Rover, and which YouGod showed him on camera just by sheer coincidence. Oh, look at this! It's Cappadonna! And Cap is, of course, saying, "Hey man, stop by. Maybe we have a glass of wine sometime." Driving off, to which YouGod, understandably so, looks into the camera with disdain and is like, "You see what I'm saying about talk is pork?" And
Oh my God.
this is the life of Cappadonna. It's like you want to believe him because he's a compelling figure, but then you keep hearing these other stories in which he's the most ridiculous and insufferable human being alive.
Oh my God.
And so what happened is, my family, we when we had the labels starting properly and we were getting distribution through Koch, who's now E1, who may be something else at this point. I have unfortunately lost track, but one of the first artists
we know about them. We call them the Graveyard. Me and the other G-Unit soldiers.
Listen to this guy, you know.
Listen, distribution is distribution, but yeah, I mean, it's not like the Buddha Monk album was going to, set records by any stretch of the imagination. Nevertheless, one of the first artists we wanted to contact once we had this distribution was Cappadonna, because we were like, hey, if we can get a properly produced album with fully realized songs, with a lot of solid work done, maybe this can be a proper comeback for him. Maybe he could turn himself into a big figure. And when we were talking amongst ourselves, me, my father, his business associates, there were suggestions like, yeah, maybe we get Rock Marciano to do something. Obviously, he'd love to do this. I even personally, through connections I had as a journalist, was trying to get a collaboration where maybe Main Attraction Squad B would produce for Cap, just to create something very left field and out of the ordinary for him. And when we met Cap, he was mostly concerned with the fact that he was, again, homeless and he needed a place to stay, and he could not really go back to Staten Island for whatever reason. So, as an advance, my father gave him money for a loft in Allentown. We found the loft for him personally. Admittedly, he was concerned because he regarded the neighborhood as quote-unquote the hood, which was not the case, but nevertheless, it's Allentown, you know? It's maybe not the greatest neighborhood of Allentown, but it's not like you're in the middle of Park Hill and Stapleton anymore. You know what I mean?
Is this the same Allentown from the Billy Joel song?
Yes.
That would be the one. That would be the
Oh,
one.
hey, hey, whoa. Okay, sorry. Keep
All good.
going.
But so we proceeded to put Cap into this loft, get him set up, and he would be recording in my dad's basement where we had a studio set up. So that way, everything could be done in house. We could take care of everything. You know, we'd make sure he gets where he needs to be on time. Everything should have been fine. But then Cap started proceeding to flake a lot, get really irritable on phone calls, have really difficult sessions, and within about a week, he vanished from the apartment we'd gotten, and we learned he had instead gone to a location in, I believe, Connecticut, where a promoter and producer was going to basically be doing the majority of the album for us, apparently. And needless to say, control slipped out of our hands and we had to chalk it up. That album is called The Struggle. It is available on all streaming and digital media purchasing outlets. If you would like to continue to help my family make the money we got suckered out of, that would be exceptional. But never in the mind. So, getting over to Milk the Cow, Cappadonna and my father have had on and off conversations, trying to reestablish connections, even collaborations, but it's a very difficult thing. At one point, we were going to put out an album, another album by Cappadonna, and Cap had decided, for whatever reason, he needed to get a music video done for the first single off of it. Now, my dad had a guy who would work in-house for free, who had done videos for Red Cafe and French Montana and guys like that. So maybe it wouldn't have been, MTV quality, but at the very least, it would have been really professional and at least, of a caliber that would have been respectable to put out on the internet. And now the counter argument is, of course, what actually happened. And just very briefly, the individual at Forbes, I believe, Doggy Diamonds, if I'm remembering his name correctly, he does very fine jobs with his interviews and music videos he directs. I'm not shitting on him. He probably had no idea any of this happened, but my dad proceeded to give Cappadonna $5,000 to cut the video for the single that we were going to do. Somehow, that $5,000 turned into Cappadonna meeting with Doggy Diamonds in Brooklyn, recording a video for Milk the Cow, a song which at that point was possibly 12 to 13 years old and was
So
not
I
in
have
any
the
way
clip here.
Please,
If you want to cue it up, I have the clip of Cappadonna on the Forbes DVD talking about why he shot the Milk the Cow video in 2011.
Oh, this is a wreck, because I saw what was it, daggone the bad websites we call it, genius.com, and like the little section with the marginalia, they were like, Yeah, the Milk the Cow video in 2011. I was like, why so late? And now hearing this, I'm like, just Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah, I guess we have this audio here, so I'll hit that. Here we go.
Yeah, what it is, people? It's your boy Doggy Diamonds. You already know ForbesDVD.com. We here with the man of the hour, Kappa. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? I'm just trying to make $1 out of 15 cents.
I like to say thank you for letting us direct the video for you today.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm just being sociable.
Yes,
know what I'm
sir.
saying? Staying connected. You know what I'm saying? Big up to my man Diamond, Forbes DVD. You know what I'm saying? Enough respect, enough love for y'all coming out also. You know what I'm saying? To show y'all love and gratitude, man, for the brothers that's coming up. You know what I'm saying? And trying to keep hip hop alive and doing their best to pass that test. You know what I'm saying? Nevertheless, man, you know, each and every day, man, we try to do better things. You know what I'm saying? And raise better queens and kings. You know what I'm saying? This is about our children. This is about ourselves, man, our salvation. So we gotta do what we do, man. You know what I'm saying? To keep on rising. You know what I'm saying? And keep milking that cow the best way we know how. And that's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? So every time I get the chance to advance, I'ma always come back, man. I'm a man of my stance. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, thanks for giving me that chance to advance. You know what I'm saying? This is Cappadonna right here. I'm a Wu-Tang veteran. You know what I'm saying? And my mans in them, Social Club, Rockstar, Rakim, Raheem. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, this is real life, man. This ain't a dream. And everything ain't always what it seems. You dig what I'm saying? So, yo, like I said before, man, it's nice to be important, but it's even more important to be nice. And we came giving y'all what y'all want, so y'all can learn to want what y'all need. Big up Forbes DVD, my nigga Diamond, it's Cappadonna right here. Big up to Wu-Tang. Big up to all of the other rappers that supported hip-hop, all of the veterans. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, B.I.G. Rest in peace, Jam Master Jay. Rest in peace, Big L. And all our other fallen soldiers, brothers and sisters, man. Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, even Jesus Christ. We got love for you, man. You know what I'm saying? Keep doing what you're doing, man. And yo, don't forget, man, Allah's Akbar. Peace.
So, I mean, he didn't exactly explain why he did the video in 2011, other than we're just going to keep milking this cow the best way we know how. So let's milk this cow the best way we know how.
Well, no, hold on, because wait a second. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna hit the Whoopi Goldberg drop to everything he just said.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, milking the cow involves basically scamming our good friend Misha and her family here out of $5,000 in one instance, and then like on another. What's up with this guy?
I completely agree with your assessment. The milking of this particular cow was a bad. Listen, we're too close to the situation. But
yeah,
and now I know why Misha wanted us to do the whole review before she came on for the Milk the Cow review.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
All right. First of all, what was the name of the album that your family was involved in?
That would be Cappadonna's The Struggle.
Go out right now and purchase this album if you feel anything for anyone. Okay? Hold on a second. The Struggle, you said?
The Struggle. That would be correct.
Cappadonna, The Struggle. The Struggle. Here we go. $9.49 on Amazon. All right, buy album right now.
Fantastic.
Oh wow, you're buying it live?
I'm buying it.
What?
Wait,
wow.
no, wait, hold on. The Struggle was not the album. I'm so sorry.
Oh no!
I forgot the album. It would actually be Slang Prostitution would be the album we put out. I am so sorry. I
now own this. I own The Struggle.
The Struggle is a good album.
Is it?
I'm really sorry. I mean, if you don't like this, maybe not. But like, it's a good album, and for
now I feel like
fans.
I got milked.
Oh man! Oh my god!
I might as well just download my digital copy now that I bought it for $10.
I mean, more than likely he ripped somebody else off for that album. So
everybody,
someone's being taken care of.
Someone out there by slang prostitution.
Shit getting out of hand now.
Oh man. Oh man.
Nobody enters Cappadonna's orbit without getting something taken at the end of the day. This is like walking in front of Fat Beats in 2004. Oh my god. All right, well, the first purchase of the Wu-Tang season has been initiated, I guess.
Oh man.
Here it is. Well,
you definitely got with that one. Okay. Well.
Yeah. Once again, my apologies for that. And for anyone interested, the album that my family was actually involved with, if need be, you can assist Lyle in making fun of my father, who produced several songs on the album.
Oh, this one's less money. It's $8.99, and the audio CD. Wow. $82 new on Amazon.
Do
you have copies at home?
Well, I don't think we have it through Amazon. You could probably get it through the if you go to the Thrice Great Music Group store, because that's the name of the label as of recently. You should be able to, on the web store, find copies of the album we have in stock. If we do, we should. As far as I'm aware, that Koch was keeping that in stock pretty well. So, on track 12, my father actually raps, and track 15 is produced by my father and also features live instrumentation provided by him. So, there you go.
Now the proud owner of the struggle.
Multiple Cappadonna albums. You're familiar with the entire catalog. You're on your way. Any minute now, you're going to have a collaboration with Solomon Childs. You might as well be in what was the name of Ghost's crew? Theodore Unit.
Theodore
Moulz. Yeah, exactly. So there you go.
Oh dear.
Well, I guess I'll just have to remember when I go to the store to get the banana nutriment.
Oh man.
He doesn't even have to write it on the fucking paper. I'm that big of a fan that I already know.
I just
and
can't.
You know what, Cappadonna, you owe me a cab ride after this, okay? Straight up and down.
No. Oh god, this is killing me, because on message boards, nerds used to call him Cappadonna to make fun of him.
Oh.
So it's
Well, hey, you know what? He embraced it, because on 9 Milli Brothers on Fish Scale, I believe he says is the return of the cab driver.
Well, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. Okay.
He is a worker. He is a master.
There's nothing
worker.
wrong with that. That's and not
Absolutely
every rapper. Not every rapper is going to have the luxury of not being able to do a job as well. I know some of my favorite rappers work day jobs. So
and
Big
also
Pooh was tweeting about driving Uber. You know,
a lot
I said
of
my favorite rapper is Mel.
All right. Well,
why the Big Pooh shots? Why?
I like Big Pooh, but he's not one of my favorite rappers. Come on, there's only so many of them.
People out there.
Is this because I made a Fonte on Twitter that one time?
No, Fonte is up there for me. I love Fonte.
You don't remember the time I accidentally made fun of him directly in your mentions, do you?
I don't know.
Yeah, you proceeded to give me a lecture in DMs about why do you do this? Because I basically insulted this man in his career.
Oh man,
I love Fonte. So, one of my favorite rappers.
You were subject to Tyrant Moulz, as we call him on this show.
Technically,
they say I'm the censorship guy, and here you are trying to keep. See,
Listen. Me and Lyle's relationship involves a lot of mutual terror amongst our many follows. Just normally, he inflicts himself on my friends and social circle, and I inflicted myself upon, you know, the guy who works with a Dutch guy to make bad R&B, I think is what his current career is. Something, I don't know.
Wow.
I would say the slander can't stand, but this is Rap Rankings. All slander is welcome.
Is it? I didn't know that's what we do here. Okay. I guess. Yeah, well, I do appreciate the Wu-Tang / Cappadonna history lesson. I'm glad you warned us to wait until after the album because, yeah, I'm definitely thinking about this guy differently. Wow. Well,
fuck Cappadonna. I'm calling him Scamadonna.
Well, given that Misha's a most of the time guest, we don't have to go through the rating system or anything. That's, folks, if you're new here, you go on that raprankings.com and you can get an explanation of the rating system. And we should probably add the album. We should link to this album, the Cappadonna album that Misha's family was involved with, in the merch section as a solid. You know, I feel bad that this guy is Cappadonna. We should link.
We would just hyperlink. We would just hyperlink.
Yeah, we'd hyperlink it. Yeah, and it'd just be like the lone album.
Coming soon to the web store, our first album, Slang Prostitution. And if you buy it and you send me the receipt, I'll send you a little under the table digital copy of The Struggle.
There we go. There you go. You know, so everybody wins here. Yeah, well, Milk the Cow.
Milk the Cow.
Milk the Cow. The song that got a video inexplicably 13 years later. Yeah, 10 years ago, 13 years after its release. Using money that was not designated for it. I'm gonna give this song a 6+.
Moulz Mel Connect 6+ for me too.
Okay.
I'm going to give the song a 7+.
Wow.
Wow. Even though this song should bring up bad feelings for you, you're not holding it against Milk the Cow.
Listen,
no grudges held, it seems.
Listen, there is a lot of Wu-Tang I could hold grudges against, and I have at a time, but I'm an old woman now. I'm 32. I'm going to have to face my mortality. I can't hold all that animosity against these guys from Staten Island who did, you know, they don't really have running water in that borough. It's not a good place. I forgive them for so much. They didn't live they didn't live in a civilized world like Queens, you know? It is what it is. And
it's true. You have to get on a boat anywhere where you have to get on a boat to go to is not the best place.
Listen, it took them possibly 15 years after the birth of hip hop to finally produce rappers of note. It's like they're kind of a third world nation as far as the rest of New York City is concerned. So, you know, it's like judging Uzbekistan or a country such as that. You know, you want to hold them to your standards, but then you remember it's like, no, they still have to use camels. It's like they don't have they really have their own pace. And, you know, simultaneously, I can't look at anybody in Wu-Tang after all the ridiculousness they've put themselves through, put each other through, with all the accusations everybody's made about RZA, whether or not he's given due diligence as far as money, royalties, etc., etc. It's like, all these guys, I can say this from personal experience, so many of them basically live day to day by hoping some European kid is going to PayPal them $500 to do a guest verse on a CD that will sell 17 copies on iTunes. Man. You know, they've got multiple baby mothers, and they, you know, these are guys who thought like, yeah, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna be a star, and it's like, you're not a star, man. You're Dreddy Kruger. It's like it's not happening for you.
Oh, look, Staten Island. Look, I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about that. But
it is what it is. But so, getting to the song itself, actually. So, Milk the Cow. like you said, True Master does a great job on this beat. It's like raw, punchy. It's really straightforward, but it's not anything significantly. It's not minimal to the point of being lazy. It's just kind of you can nod along to it, and
it's very MOP.
Yeah,
me, like
I agree
Billy
with
Dan's
everything you
type
just
beat.
said.
Yeah, and also, is Cappadonna necessarily making a coherent statement on the song? No, it's basically a collection of freestyles padded around into a hook and then a verse. But it's also like, again, this is a guy who isn't really a traditional, like, was taught how to rap in like album song format and stuff like that. He isn't being guided. This is kind of a very strange album in a way, because there isn't like Jizza telling him this is going to be your verse, this is going to be your chorus, this is going to be the bridge. There isn't RZA telling him this is going to be your song about, you know, how you revolutionize the microphone and blah blah. You know, he doesn't have the same support system that a lot of the quote unquote generals of Wu-Tang did.
So back to what I was saying then, did RZA fail Cappadonna?
I can't say that, because then it's like, if you're RZA and you've already dealt with all these guys, and now you're dealing with Cappadonna, who's by no means an exceptionally annoying person, but is certainly more annoyance than you already have to deal. As much as I don't sympathize with RZA a lot of days, imagine how many times he's woken up to phone calls about Old Dirty Bastard at that point in his life. Imagine how many times Ghostface has beaten up people they were supposed to collaborate with. Imagine how many times...
And it all ends up falling on this one guy who's supposed to be the de facto leader of this group.
Right, and so by the time he's getting to Cappadonna, he's probably just like, yeah, whatever, I need to... I mean, the guy moved away to Los Angeles and stopped talking to people in his group for 3 years because he just couldn't even deal with it. I can't imagine he's going to do it for a relative stranger, you know what I mean? It's not like this was a personal project or this was somebody who was related to him, like certain other groups in Wu-Tang have had, Killer Army. But it's also like, I don't know, it's probably something that's like, maybe he would have been more passionate about it when Cap was getting out of jail and it was helping out somebody and giving them an opportunity. But there's been so many stories of rap where people do that and it doesn't turn out great because, you know, the egos, the personalities, the different mindsets. And so at the same time, it's like, I can completely understand if RZA was not completely there for Cappadonna, because at that point, like, RZA was trying to actually make himself to be a star, and he'd already had to put in that same amount of energy for 8 different people who were constantly not able to even put up with him at all. So it's like, at that point, I can easily imagine him just kind of being checked out and just working on autopilot.
You hear that, Moulz? Maybe RZA didn't sabotage him after all.
I mean, the sounds of things is that it kind of went both ways, but I can't help but look at even the last album we did, Wu-Tang Forever, and maybe it's not RZA failing Cappadonna. Maybe RZA failed himself, and he only failed himself because everybody else was failing him.
I mean, since we didn't address it, we might as well bring it up. Meth on the hook here is very non-committal. It's a fine hook, but it's also... This is basically a worse version of the hook Method Man had been doing for 5 years running at that point, and would proceed to do for the rest of his career. And, you know, at that point, it's like Meth is trying to work on records with people who are like providing him multi-million-dollar checks. You know, he's got his own career to worry about. He's got people under him he's trying to develop. And as much as I know he respects Cappadonna as a rapper, I don't think Method Man is going to give his A game to making sure Cappadonna gets over. I think that...
Well, I mean, he gave him 2 good verses on this album for what it's worth.
Yeah, I mean, but also
To be fair, though, he is Method Man. I don't know how easy it is for him to give a bad verse. You know,
Right.
so
especially at this point in time.
yeah, that's true. But also, it's like you gotta remember. I think the only people who've ever actually, unintentionally or not, given Cappadonna the chance to outshine them and be a star were Ray and Ghost on their projects. And Ghost has managed to keep Cappadonna in the fold on and off for a good few years, obviously, but at the same time, that's clearly a relationship where even Ghost, who is by all accounts outside of his issues with people outside of Wu-Tang, really affable, like really easy to get along with, professional. I mean, the guy is the most prolific member of the group at this point for a reason, and I don't think it's because he's particularly hesitant to work with people. But even him and Cap have their differences. So at that point, it's like you can only do so much for some people, you know?
Right. I mean, to that point, Method Man, when I saw he was featured on this, I was excited because, you know, I thought that, you know, he had delivered already at this point on the album. We had heard Super Ninjas. That's probably my favorite verse from him on the album out of, you know, the two that he does. On this, you're right, very non-committal in the sense that, like, he's barely on this record. Saying featuring Method Man. He committed
because he mentioned darts, and we know about this album. You can't go a song without darts being mentioned. I'm glad Misha's here so I can ask her. Misha, there are so many darts. And
darts is an important slang word for like people in Wu-Tang. Darts are darts can be, like bullets. Darts can be your bars.
Right, we were trying to break it down. I was like, okay, in some instances, it's bullets
being referred to as darts, also lyrics.
Yeah, and he's gone so far, like, we'll say it later in the review, but I think of the conclusion of the Dart saga of this particular album. He says Dart Holocaust, and I'm like, okay, it doesn't get much higher than that. That must be the climax of the darts here. They threw more darts than a frat boy on this album, and I accepted it at this point.
Ironically, I recently rewatched the Iron Fist Pillage, and in the first 5 minutes of the movie, you see guys throwing knives as like a sort of target practice game, and the line that Cappadonna decides to overdub that scene with is him going, "That ain't how to throw no dots," and just like,
Wu-Tang!
I love it.
Yep.
I love it. I gotta see this.
The highlight of this song to me is the beat, unfortunately. Also, I have like a Mel problem when I can sometimes get like a little finicky about something.
That's not a me problem.
Milk the Cow is the name of the song, but Milk the Cow is never uttered on the song. They only say Milk this cow.
No.
That's not, okay, come on. That's pedantic. I'm sorry.
I'm saying pedantic Mel.
That's not what I do. That's not what I do.
I'm looking at Milk the Cow, and then I see they keep saying Milk this cow. So call the song Milk This Cow. Why can't you call it that?
I'll allow it. I think it's fine. That he milked this cow instead of milk the cow. It just
no.
What was the other song you had an issue with? It was like Drake, the new album. You said he never said Daddy's Home. He said he named the song Poppy's Home, but in the song he was saying Daddy's Home.
Yeah, that's different. That's like he used different definitive language. That's code switching right there. This is a war on Twitter waiting to happen. That's real.
Yeah.
The difference between this and that's a little.
I feel you, but why couldn't they just call the song Milk This Cow?
Probably because
they have to make it relatable and universal. And when you say milk this cow, not everyone is familiar with that cow. So when you say milk the cow, the could be anyone's respective cow.
I guess in the sequence, like milk the cow, the best way we know, it wouldn't sound as good as milk this cow.
You know?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I think this is a case of whomever was in charge of doing the album design at Epic. They just did not fucking care.
One of those. Okay.
It was probably like milking cows, whatever. Like fuck it, let's get it. You know, God, Cappadonna keeps showing up in the office. You know, he keeps telling us about how like. I mean, you heard him going off and starting to basically do his promo and talk about whatever I've dealt with
Martin Luther King and Jesus and
oh god, I have dealt with so many of these Wu-Tang guys. You don't understand. They all sound like this. They are all constantly doing this. It's a nightmare. Do you know how many times I just keep hearing guys coming out of my father's basement and it's like, yeah, but at the end of the day, many an eye can't be turned to vanity's splendor. And you're just like, what the fuck does that have to do with ordering pizza? Jesus Christ, enough of this shit.
Okay, thank you, Misha. I've been saying all season that these guys, they talk in code and like so much of these songs, so many of these songs, I get to the end and I'm just staring at the speakers and I'm just like,
whatever that fucking means.
And I go to the next track. And sometimes it works because it's provocative. Other times I'm lost. I'm just lost.
Slang is great sometimes, but the ultimate danger of slang is that you have to be relatively in the area of knowing how that works and knowing what is going. I had a friend who, for some reason, he got really into Mac Dre a few years ago, and he's from New Jersey, so he's not familiar with a lot of West Coast rap and things like that. But for whatever reason, this worked for him. But I remember one day he came to me and was looking really forlorn, and he's like, "Misha, this is really weird. Like, this man keeps rhyming about girls' cock," and I'm just like.
We ran into that on this show, definitely.
And so the thing is actually that cock is actually supposed to be apologies for the family-friendly listeners. Cock is actually supposed to refer to both different variations historically, and over time we've just usually slotted it towards referring to men because we don't normally perceive the other option as a quote-unquote cock. And so that's occasionally comes up in like older rap records. Whereas I keep imagining like, if you have never experienced that, like you're just coming in and you are basically under the impression that like all these guys from a certain era are just really, really free thinking. And of course, I've met so many god bodies, and I can tell you that is not the case. These gentlemen are not very progressive, and God bless them. God bless them. Everything is going the way it goes for everyone else. They're on their own path, but also at the same time, it's like, just what a cognitive dissonance.
There have only been a handful of moments during this Wu-Tang season where I could say. They've been progressive. We were actually able to clip them. I believe it's 2 moments. There was on this very album, Cappadonna said this.
Protect black women.
Okay. And then I believe Jizza said this on Liquid Swords.
Get vaccinated.
So, we have that. But other than that, some alarming things have been said.
There's stuff that's going on right now. Many ideas are being discussed in the interest of free speech, right?
These are a lot of men who read "Behold a Pale Horse." They are taking life advice from a man who is preaching on the street corner named Papa Wu.
We know about Papa Wu, yeah.
Some, again, a lot of angel dust is being consumed while they are meditating on these matters. A few of them are, also believing that they're actually in the mafia at certain times, or believing that they are comic book characters.
So basically, like any pro wrestler in the '90s.
No, it works.
Just doped up, thinking that they're a character from a comic book.
They're living the gimmick. They are absolutely living the gimmick. That's why I called Cap a worker. I can't get mad at him because it honestly took getting into wrestling as I did a few years back in order for me to reappreciate rappers, because it's like, I understand that they literally live the life of a classic pro wrestler where you had to live the gimmick 24/7.
Right.
Even when you're going to the grocery store, you are, Ox Baker, and you have to look like you would rip somebody's head off. There is not 1 minute where I've met so many guys in the parking lots of malls, and these guys have not ever had a hit single in their life, but they are dressed to the nines with multiple gold medallions, bandanas around their head, and meanwhile they are there with their kids and their wife in order to get Christmas shopping done at Green Acres Mall. I know you know about Green Acres Mall.
Oh, I know all about that Green Acres.
And it's just like, fam, you are Shabazz the Disciple. I love you on Death Be the Penalty. No one has heard that album that doesn't live in Greece at this point. Like, you do not need to flex. You do not need to floss. I'm loving it. You can turn it off, but they can't turn it off because they know if somebody recognizes them and they look like a civilian, the myth is gone. Their power is gone. And so it's like, I get completely why somebody like Cappadonna is constantly torn between, maybe he understands what he's doing, but at this point, it's like, you've got to keep that myth alive that you deserved this album, when so many people on the internet are going to just say that you were like some guy that people did a favor for. And nobody knows or cares about your personal history. Nobody is going to... There's so many years of Staten Island hip hop that no one's ever going to care about. And honestly, I understand, because none of it ever could have made attention on a national level. And a guy like Cappadonna is extremely lucky that he's gotten his one moment to shine, and he can't give that up, because what's left for him after that?
Right. That's the rap game, pretty much, in a nutshell. You got to work this gimmick. You got to be careful what gimmick you work, because you're trapped in it.
It's not just working the gimmick, right? Because it's a matter of, you can be officially inducted in the Wu-Tang Clan and still be living like you're a guy who puts out stuff on Bandcamp and tours small 50 to 60 person capacity venues, across the country at small dives and whatnot, and you're living the same life as those people. Not for nothing, when I saw Theophilus London in 2012 put out an album with Leon Ware on it and a Kanye West feature, and that shit only sold 4,000 copies first week. I said a Kanye West feature could maybe only net me if I had a Kanye feature, I might only be able to sell 4,000 records.
It's a lot of smoke and mirrors that dictate this industry.
Indeed.
It's part of why I had to leave, other than, being unsuccessful.
Record, though, I think this record, for me, apart from the beat, chorus isn't doing a whole lot for me. Cap's rhymes are hit or miss for me on here. Like, I'm not going to say he was whack, but I'm Misha, you saying that these are basically patched together freestyles makes a lot of sense, because they're a bit, the lyrics are a bit unfocused on here for me.
Well, I would say lines in particular, like, vocabulary coming out my ass like shit to feed my babies. When I first heard it, I was like, it's got to be a better way to say that. And then I'm like, okay, I mean, it's to feed his babies. What am I going to say? Like, at least he's doing it for a good cause. And I do genuinely like this part where he's like, my mother told me when I was so stressed out, all you got to do is put your best out. I mean, is that a little, rosy and sentimental and not, entirely reflective of how terrible life actually is? Sure. But it sounded good on the record,
Sure.
and so I enjoyed that. And it's just, it's capped at a 6+ because, yeah, the beat's cool. It's not anything spectacular, but it's cool. And there are moments lyrically, but it's just right on the border. I can't quite put it over. It's just, yeah. And that's kind of my Cappadonna experience for a lot of these songs on here. Whether it's his fault or RZA's fault or, just hip hop in general as an overall spirit's fault. I don't know, but hey, I mean,
gotta point the finger at someone.
I guess, it's just.
We all failed Cappadonna. All of us. Society failed Cappadonna.
Oh man!
Wow, America failed Cappadonna. That's the big takeaway here.
Well, I mean, it's just. I don't know. This album throughout the week fluctuated between a 0 out of 16 or 17, 0 out of 16, and like a 7 out of 16, and it ended up being. And
Wait, Mel,
it's just.
Why are you spoiling the takeaway halfway through the review?
Oh, I'll censor it. I got special post-production powers. Don't worry about it. I'll make a note. Okay. You hear this guy Moulz? He panics so much, but I always got things under control. It's nothing bad ever happens on the show.
The magic of
but
audio.
this album, plenty of bad things happen and some good things happen. It's just it's always a delicate balance with these rappers because it's wrestling. Like I will allow things that it's like, yo, new Cappadonna is about to excel, kid. Hold all the phone calls and stop all the mail. I'm like, this isn't worthy of, stop the presses. I mean, it's a Cappadonna album, but he has to hype himself up. This is hip hop,
Absolutely.
I would be upset if he wasn't believing in himself, I guess. So it's sure.
Right. Imagine his opening line was, "How could you possibly be excited for this?"
Like, I'm Cappadonna, I wouldn't blame you if you turned it off. I mean, that would be a bad opening line, Is that why I failed as a rapper? Because I was too self-deprecating? Maybe? Anyway, this isn't Melvin Rankings. Anyway, Cappadonna, you had moments on here, but it wasn't quite enough. And that's pretty much, and there's like this gunfight at the end, which alarmed me. I'm a very gentle, fragile person. You gotta warn me when they are gonna be gun. It kind of just happened. They just start shooting. I'm like, why are they shooting? Usually there's more cinematic buildup, but there wasn't. It's just
sometimes things just happen.
That is true. Sometimes
you went and you took the $5,000 we gave you to start Rab, and you made a video for the Dumb Bums bot.
Oh, don't mention that. So, why would you do that to me? Why would you say that? I really need to get that drop. I've been meaning to get that guy in the video. Why would you say that? Okay, don't mention that on the show. Okay, Misha, this guy. Okay, it's never enough for him. Everyone's convinced now that Mel can't be trusted. It's like, oh, he's a whippersnapper. He's got bad opinions on Wu-Tang. He made bad music, but no, he has to keep burying me every week, bringing up my bad.
This has been a tough season for Mel, but he's going to power through it.
I mean, listen, I'm getting on this podcast talking about how my family invested thousands of dollars on people who were affiliated with the Wu-Tang Clan in the late 2000s. I cannot judge any. Do you know what it's like to have a household where you are wondering whether or not your grocery bills are going to get paid? Because you have to hope that, like, Master Killa is going to clear his verse.
Oh,
it's like,
why are we all at the mercy of hip hop in this way?
I can't judge anyone for the decisions they've made because, oh Lord, have I seen some decisions get made.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. I regret the day I found that Drought 3 bootleg CD in 2007. Sometimes I wonder where my life would have went, you know? But I mean, at the same time, though, I'm thankful. You know, I wouldn't be here with friends here tonight talking about getting screwed over by hip hop, you know? So there is a silver lining somewhere, you know?
I was a passenger, literally. Like, it was my dad playing Hot 97 in the car while he was driving me around, and I've been driven around by all this stupid bullshit ever since. So, hey.
Well, Misha, thank you so much once again for joining us here. Your information has been invaluable, I'd say. The perspective that you've given us.
Absolutely.
Well,
this is like a Dart Adams level history lesson we just got.
I would advise everyone to purchase a copy of Let's get it.
Slang Prostitution.
Slang Prostitution. And then contact me with your receipt, and I will give you a free special under the table copy of The Struggle. And you'll be just as in the know about Cappadonna as Misha, your pals here at Rab, and Drizzy Drake himself.
Such a confusing line. Now, having heard Cappadonna, why would he say that on Tuscan Leather? Why, of all the members?
Wait, what was the line on Tuscan Leather again? It's been years. I can't remember.
Tell her, Moulz. Tell her about the line. We're so confused.
Drake says, I sip the Pora and listen to Cappadonna. The Fresh Prince just had dinner with Tatiana.
It just...
I mean, you know, maybe he just really likes slang editorial. I don't know what to tell you, you know?
Well, our theory off air was that, knowing Drake, he just wanted to shout out he needed something to rhyme with Tatiana, and he Googled Wu-Tang Clan, and he's like, oh, the Cappadonna man, you know, 40, I think I found a guy that can rhyme with Tatiana, you know?
Was Cap on the Wu-Tang Forever remix when he got all those guys on that song?
He was, yes. He was one of I believe so.
Drake, you know, Drake is like a weird backpacker. People forget his favorite Cool G rap album is the one with 456, I think.
Oh, he has a favorite Cool G rap album?
Yeah, him and 40, they talk about that was the album they kept listening to in high school for some reason. And I'm just like, a huge MF Grimm aficionados, Aubrey Graham and Noah Shabib. So, like, you know, maybe weirdly enough, even though I imagine I would hate having to talk to him, maybe me and Drake could have like really in-depth conversations about Shaheem the Rugged Child and Illel Scratch and stuff like that. I'm kind of worried about that. I don't want to acknowledge this reality, but it could be a reality.
Oh, man.
I don't think the record came out, though, this remix.
We never got the remix.
I believe we discussed that on the Drake review, that it never materialized.
I think knowing the clan, I think they may have dropped it unceremoniously to blogs before it could be an official release, which is, once again, one of the most Wu-Tang ways of doing things that they could possibly do things.
Yeah, in 2013, YouGod talked about it. He confirmed that Cappadonna and Master Killer were also set to appear.
Okay.
Wow. I mean, if anything, I mean, we've got, what with
Inspector Deck was sort of on the other side, basically saying, I want nothing to do with this. And this song doesn't represent our group.
I just heard Young Hearts, okay? I don't want to hear that. Okay, I mean, look, they could have hopped on that.
He had to make sure that his Czarface money wouldn't get fucked with. You know, all those angry like Jedi mind tricks and Ill Bill
Snow
fans.
Goons, yeah, like
it's like
the Polish fans can't get angry.
They wouldn't have appreciated all their support going to guys who are working with Drake. It's like, that's unforgivable. Having a career, you know, being successful, being recognized in the music industry, no, absolutely not.
I think they were all worried for nothing. We would have got a freestyle or a verse like the Drake freestyle back before he was famous. I'm sure we've all heard it when he was standing on the corner rapping like he was never going to be anybody. You know? This one, folks.
Man, just get like me, like you could do it too. I'm from the city where people be getting threatened for show when they facing precincts. Ladies leasing, arranging, and renting basements and regions. Some people making that change and spending places that's decent. And cost from summers before they replace them with something recent. Memphis and rubber bands to show people your grind is money. Here they just quick to see.
He never would have went anywhere. Never would have went anywhere rapping like that. You know?
I'm sure two
that's
Dope Boys would have posted him a couple times.
Maybe
he would have been a freaking, you know...
He would have been buying the verses from Cappadonna.
Exactly. And then we would have had Drake on the show in some later season, you know, talking about getting screwed over by Cappadonna.
Oh, Drake God. Over Snow Goons beats is like my nightmare.
Oh man.
Oh no.
The Drake Army of the Pharaohs collab. I mean,
I'm just imagining Drake doing a song with like frickin' like King Magnetic or something and losing my shit.
Look, maybe when Drake goes back to Hollywood, he could do an album with Slain.
I mean, listen, Necro, star of Uncut Gems, might be another possibility.
There you go. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm liking this change in direction for Drake. We've been crying out for it, Mel. Play a Snow Goons beat. Just cue up any Snow Goons that you can find, Mel.
A Snow Goons. Well, I thought we wanted heavy set Drake. That was the Drake era.
No, this can be heavy set Drake. He'll be like Vinny Paz now.
Oh, okay. Well, let me see.
This is going to be Vinny Paz Drake.
Snow Goons instrumental.
See if Snow Goons got anything with Vinny Paz on it. Now that's a fucking combination.
Well, I just found Snow Goons Starlight instrumental 8 years ago. Okay, well,
Drake right, with a freeway beard. Oh god.
What in the world?
Yeah.
Oh no. I could hear it, honestly. No, I could hear this. See, Drake, are you listening? Hop on this Starlight instrumental by Snow Goons, please. Yeah. You like, look. I don't know what he would rap about on this, though. It just probably the same stuff. Rihanna and Adonis and Pusha T and clubs and strippers. It'd be great, honestly.
Ravioli, you know, like
bolognese.
You know, vague allusions to like mental problems that he doesn't actually have. Like,
you know, he needs a therapist, but a therapist wouldn't understand, and he would keep threatening that his best bars haven't been revealed, and he's got stories he hasn't talked about yet. But he keeps recycling this. Listen, I'm a Drake enthusiast, so I know he recycles the same stories. He was robbed at gunpoint. His mom was sick. You know, he left acting.
He needs to go overseas. He's got to go to Poland, Germany, Russia. He's got to link with some producers out there.
Some rapper called him and told him to stay on his grind, you know.
Drake, we know about you, you know. But hey, what can I say? CLB out now, you know. It's a classic, y'all. It's a classic. Never mind what I said in the first listen.
You don't even believe that.
It doesn't matter what I believe. It's not about belief, okay? It's about we got to keep this guy on top.
Hit that check cleared.
That's not fair. But fine. I'll hit it. Even though OVO has not paid me in years. Here you go. There. And with that said, I think we've done what we had to do here. Nisha, is there anything you'd like to plug before we get out of here?
Let me see. So obviously, if anyone wants to support my family after the many years they've given to the hip hop community, Thrice Grace Records, we've put out albums by the likes of Cappadonna, Mayhem Loren, various other people. If you like old school hip hop, you may have already even heard music we've released. So by all means, feel free to give that a go. Shout out to all my friends over at formerly Destroy the Heart, now Sound Rot. We're still continuing along. I have been taking a brief hiatus in order to get certain personal matters together, but I should be coming back to them with more writing, both for rap and hip hop and otherwise. And we do actually have a few articles on hip hop for the rap heads and also additional music as well. Also want to shout out to my roommate who's been letting me borrow her headset, Siobhan. Her and her friend Bucky have a wrestling podcast, for those of you who like that, called Wrestling is Gross. They specifically
I like the sound of that.
They specifically cover a lot of things involving violence, hardcore, deathmatch stuff. Not necessarily explicitly that, but some of the more offbeat and less reputable directions that the sport can go. I believe they just recently did another episode dedicated to charting both the WWF and WCW hardcore titles. So for people who are more casual listeners,
I actually would be interested in checking that out.
Oh, it's a very weird listen, I will admit. My roommate and Bucky are the kind of people who say with all sincerity that Road Dogg in 1998 might have been one of the 5 greatest wrestlers in America. But you know what? They mean it, okay? They mean it. And I've had many a shouting match with Siobhan in our living room, so I can co-sign that. But it is an excellent podcast, and I definitely recommend people give it a shot if you like. I've actually guested on one episode about Tajiri, and I should be guesting in the near future. So stay tuned on that, and that's about it for me.
Listen, if y'all don't go listen to that podcast, we have a message here exclusively from Brock Lesnar. Brock,
from me to you, go fuck yourself.
There you go.
Well said.
Misha, thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure we'll see you again soon. Best of love, and thank you.
Pleasure as always.
On behalf of all the Rap Rankings universe.
Yo, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all the other episodes, stop by raprankings.com or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform.